Hi and welcome to tutorial. In this tutorial, let's learn how to use MySQL GUI tools. MySQL Enterprise Server produces GUI tools as MySQL Administrator, Migration Toolkit, the Query Browser, the MySQL System Tray Monitor. Let's start off with MySQL Administrator. We can run MySQL Administrator in two modes, normal mode and configure service mode. So first, give the details. Mention the stored connection as MySQL. Then server host as localhost, port as 3306, username as root, and mention your password. Okay, now let's learn how to run MySQL Administrator in configure service mode. We have to use MySQL Administrator in configure service mode when we want MySQL server to start within the administrator, or when we want to run it on multiple servers. So in order to do this, click and hold the control button. We can see when we press and hold the control button, the cancel changes to skip. So choose skip. This is MySQL Administrator, which is opened up in configure service mode. Here we have these options like service controls, data variables, and server logs. Let's understand these options in detail in the other mode. For now, let's close it. Now let's run MySQL Administrator in normal mode. Again, mention the details. Just click OK. This opens MySQL Administrator in normal mode. Here we have all these options and we can perform all administrative tasks. Under server information, we can see that MySQL server is running. We can see the information about the server we are connected to. We can see the information about the client and server. Okay, under service control, we can start or stop the service. For example, we can stop now the MySQL service, or we can also configure the service. Under startup variables, we can check all the variables. We can see the ports we are connected to. We can see the performance. We can check out all the log files. We can see the replication status. We can also see the security, and we can set the security and other advanced options. Under user administration, we can see the user administration. We can add new user. We can apply changes to the already presenting user. We can also apply changes to the schema. We can also set privileges to schema. Under server connection, we can view and kill the threads. For example, here we can see the thread with PID 14 and username as root. By right clicking the thread, we get the kill thread option. Selecting that, we can kill the thread. User connection, we can get the connections of all the users present. Using kill user, we can kill the user. Health gives a graphical representation of connection usage, traffic, and number of SQL queries. We can also see the graphical representation of hit rate and key efficiency. We can see the hierarchy of status variables, also the hierarchy of system variables. In the server logs, we can see error logs, so query logs, and general query logs. Replication status gives the replication status. And the backup, we can perform backup of a project. So choose new project. Choose one schema which you want to backup. For example, I would choose manager schema. Choose the arrow button and click on execute backup now. We are performing backup of a schema manager. So save it. Backup was finished successfully. Click on OK. Okay, let's restore now. Restore. Click on open backup file. Then let's choose the file which we just now choose for backup. Then say start restore. Restore operation was finished successfully. Then close the button. So we've got the file restored perfectly. In restore content, we can see that manager schema is restored perfectly. And the catalog files, we have the schema. Suppose we choose information schema. We get the details of all the tables and all the catalogs present in information schema. We can create table, edit table, maintain it, or we can see the schema indices. We can see the number of views. For example, let's choose MySQL schema. Here we can see all the employee tables and all other tables we created. T1, T2, Team 1, T2, and all the tables we created are present here. We can edit these tables, or we can also see the views. So in MySQL administrator, we can perform various administrative tasks. We understood how to perform all the administrative tasks like startup, stopping the servers, or maintaining backup and restore files. Let's now understand MySQL query browser. This is the connection dialog for MySQL query browser. Enter the details. Choose default schema as MySQL and say OK. This opens up MySQL query browser. In MySQL query browser, we have MySQL query toolbar. This is the MySQL query toolbar. This is MySQL query area. This is the result area. And this is the object browser area, and this is information browser area. In object browser, we can see all the tables and all the schema we've created are present. All the databases are stored here. And the information area, we can get information. For example, I want to know how to use operators. Just click on the operators. You get the online help for all the operators, all the information, all the syntaxes, everything. For example, I want to know the syntax for char. So all the syntaxes and all data is present in this information browser. Okay, let's choose employee table. So this is the query area. You can graphically run all the queries. In this query area, we can perform all the queries graphically. For example, let's choose MySQL database. Let's choose a query. Okay, select staff from employee. After choosing the query, you have to click on execute button. So when you click on execute button in the result area, displays the employee table. We can see that primary key is set a key. So MySQL query browser is a graphical tool for creating, executing, editing, and optimizing query in graphical environment. Let's try more examples. Suppose we want to find out the time and date. We can use now. Just click on execute. So we would get the date and time. Graphically, this is much better than command prompt. Let's run more queries. For example, we have select staff from employee. Say execute. Would get the employee table. So it becomes easy to type queries and execute in MySQL query browser than the command prompt, because we have online help, we have all the schemas present here. We can execute it graphically using these buttons. You can as well save all the files. That completes MySQL query browser. So that completes a tutorial. In this tutorial, we understood how to use MySQL Administrator and MySQL Query Browser. In the next tutorial, learn about MySQL Migration Toolkit. Visit further tutorials of your choice and browse through it. For further help, visit us at www.dataminingtools.net.